Surrey's real estate market just hit its lowest sales to active listings ratio in years. Yep, we're officially in a buyer's market. I've been in this market for over 23 years, and what's happening right now is something I haven't seen in a long time. So if you lived in the Surrey and Langley area for a while, you know things have changed big time. 2 years ago, a sign going up on a Thursday meant a sold sticker by Monday. But what's happening now on those same streets is a totally different story. How do I describe Surrey's market right now? Simple, the urgency is gone. Buyers who were once sprinting are now strolling, and sellers are definitely feeling that shift. Homes are sitting. Detached homes across the Fraser Valley are taking close to 40 days to sell, and condos even longer. But it's not just about how long it takes to sell. More listings are dropping their price. Price reductions used to be a red flag, a sign that something was really wrong with a property, but now they're the norm. Over 80% of homes sold across Metro Vancouver last year went for less than their asking price. And bidding wars that were the norm from 2020 to 2022, now they're almost non-existent in most segments. I felt this shift firsthand. Right now I've got a listing that's been on the market about 2 months. I've had close to 40 showings. In a normal market, that kind of activity means multiple offers are coming. It usually means the home is priced right because the buyers are showing up, but we didn't get our first offer until last week. That kind of showing to offer ratio is telling exactly where buyers' heads are at, and it's happening across the market, just not on this one listing. And wait until we talk about condos and townhomes. You'll definitely want to hear what's happening in that market segment. So the sales to active listings ratio, the best number to understand a market's temperature, is sitting at around 11%. Anything below 12% means we're in a buyer's market. So yeah, that's where we are right now. This is a big, clear market signal. And quick pause here before we dive deeper. If you're a homeowner in Surrey, Langley, or elsewhere in the Fraser Valley, and you're wondering how your property stands in this market, I'd love to give you a real number. No guesswork, just current data from someone who's in this market every day. My contact info is in the description below. Now, let's dive more into what's driving all this. 40 years. That's how far back you'd have to go to find a Fraser Valley market with this much available supply. Whatever you thought about inventory before this spring, it's all been reset now. And this next part is a bit concerning depending on which side of the table you're on. Right now, the supply side of this market is historic. We're looking at over 9,000 active listings across the Fraser Valley, which is about 50%, that's 50% above the 10-year seasonal average. That's a massive number of homes competing for a buyer pool that just isn't showing up in the same numbers. Now, some of this makes sense for this time of year. April and May are usually the biggest listing months. When the kids' spring break starts, a lot of people take time off work, get their homes show ready, and then list them. We knew inventory was going to climb. But inventory has been high for a good part of the last 2 years. And on top of that, you've got thousands of new construction units being completed across Surrey right now. City Centre, Clayton, Cloverdale, all these areas have seen huge waves of condo and townhome completions hit the market all at once. In fact, Metro Vancouver recorded a record number of housing completions in 2025, the most since tracking began. And economists are saying that wave isn't even close to stopping. Now, what does this mean for buyers in the condo segment? I'm gonna get into that in just a bit, so stick with me. So those units aren't going anywhere. If buyers don't start showing up to meet all that inventory in the next few weeks, things could tip even further towards a buyer's market. But we'll find out pretty quickly because spring is when we usually see what the buyers are ready to do. All right, that's the supply side, but there's another side to the story, and it's the one that explains why all these listings aren't moving as fast as sellers were hoping. Buyer hesitation right now is more about confidence, and let's face it, confidence is hard to fix with just an interest rate cut. Now, let's look at the other side of the equation. Supply up, but demand hasn't shown up to meet it. I want to be clear, the buyers are out there. I know they are because open houses are still getting traffic, and when a listing like the one we have has 40 showings, that tells you people are looking. But looking and buying are two very different things at the moment. Interest rates have come down quite a bit from their peak, but buyers still have to qualify under the stress test. With fixed rates where they are, affordability is still a real stretch for a lot of first-time buyers. But honestly, I think the bigger issue right now is confidence. Every day there's something new in the headlines. trade uncertainty, global instability, and economic news that leaves everyone feeling uneasy. And the first place that kind of sentiment shows up is in real estate. I had a real example just this past week. I followed up with a client that I spoke with in the fall, a father helping his daughter buy her first condo. Well, here's the update. They decided to put things on hold. Not because they can't afford it, and not because there aren't good deals out there, it's because the world feels uncertain right now, and they're not in a rush. That's the market in a nutshell. When buyers don't feel any pressure, when they don't see sold stickers going up every weekend, there's no urgency. I've got listings all over Surrey, Langley, and White Rock, and I can tell you exactly whether the phone is ringing on a property in a price range or not. As a seller, you need to know where you stand before you set your price. Working with an agent who has that real-time intel is the difference between sitting on a listing and actually selling it. And in the condo and townhome market right now, let's just say that edge has never mattered more. The Fraser Valley is in a buyer's market, but the condo segment is in something closer to a correction. And understanding the difference between the two is huge, depending on whether you're buying, selling, or trying to price a property. If the overall market feels soft right now, the condo segment feels heavy. And this is very important in the Surrey and Langley area because so much of the housing here is condos and townhomes. Metro Vancouver is sitting on thousands of newly built condos that are unsold and empty, and that number has doubled in just a single year. Developers who missed their pre-sale targets are offering incentives. Some have refunded deposits and a few even entered receivership. Surrey's condo benchmark has dipped noticeably from this time last year, sitting somewhere in the high 400,000s. Townhomes are in the high 700s to the low 800s range and also down very meaningfully year over year. That's real money moving in the wrong direction for anyone who bought in the last couple of years. On top of all that new supply, strata fees are climbing sharply, insurance costs for a lot of buildings have more than doubled, repairs and materials are expensive, and BC's updated contingency fund requirements mean strata corporations have to hold more in reserve, which drives those monthly fees even higher. Areas like Clayton are seeing some of the sharpest corrections. We're talking meaningful reductions compared to what similar properties sold for not too long ago. That being said, there's real opportunity for the right buyer here. Sellers in this segment are motivated and there's room to negotiate. All these motivated sellers, rising strata fees, and unsold builds didn't just happen out of nowhere. To really get why the condo market landed here, we need to go back to where the surge all started. Surrey looked like a completely different market just a few years ago. Not just busier, but structurally different. Buyers were making decisions in hours. Investors were stacking pre-sale contracts, and signs barely had time to go up before those sold stickers followed. And that version of the market created the one we're in right now. And you can't fully understand where we are today without understanding where we came from. The market we're in today is largely a consequence of what we saw from 2020 through 2022. Surrey had one of the most dramatic growth runs in history during that time. The population was surging, investors were flooding in, migration was at a record level, and prices were climbing so fast that buyers were making decisions in hours, not days. They were waiving inspections, skipping conditions, doing whatever they could just to get in the door. At the peak in early 2022, Fraser Valley benchmark prices were running about 24% higher than they are right now. That's a meaningful correction that's still working its way through the market. That investor wave in the condo market during the pandemic era, small units bought on pre-sale meant to be flipped or rented, is now starting to exit. As those investors list their units, supply goes up. Sellers who bought at or near that peak are feeling this the most. And here's what I've noticed over the past 2 decades. It takes longer for sellers to accept a new price reality than it takes the market to establish one. When prices go up, buyers feel it right away. But when prices drop, it takes time for sellers to catch up. Right now, there's a lot of inventory out there, but a lot of it's overpriced, and the serious buyers aren't even engaging with it. That inventory sitting on the market isn't random. A lot of it has a story, a price paid at the wrong time, an expectation that hasn't adjusted to the current market. And that brings me to a specific situation that really puts all this into concrete terms. The story I'm about to walk you through is about a well-positioned home that had its price adjusted more than once and a seller who's been very patient. What's happened since the peak tells you more about this market than any statistic I could throw at you. Now let me give you a real world example because I think one concrete story does more than any number I could cite. Now, I know of a property, not my listing, that was bought near the 2022 peak for about 1.9 million. That seller is now listed around 1.6 million and still hasn't found a buyer. That's a meaningful gap from what they paid, and the market still hasn't responded the way they need it to. It's a tough situation, and it's happening at different price points across Surrey. Now, in my own listing, the one with 40 showings and only one offer, that tells the same story from a different angle. That home is priced right. 40 showings means buyers are seeing value, because if it were way off, they wouldn't even be walking through the door. But the threshold for making an offer has gone way up. People want certainty. So they look, they think about it, and then they wait. Keep this dynamic in mind, because when we start to look at different parts of the market, it gets even more interesting. So the pattern is almost always the same. The homes that are priced correctly, not closed, not let's test the market, but actually correctly, are still selling. The ones that are sitting for months are either overpriced or in segments with the heaviest supply pressure. The market's just a lot less forgiving than it used to be. Sellers need an agent who can skip a step for them, someone who can look at the property and say, based on what I'm seeing across my listings right now, the number of showings we're getting in different price ranges, this is where your price needs to be. The agent who can do that, who has live data across all their own listings and can tell you exactly where buyers are reacting, is the difference between getting the price right the first time and finding out the hard way. That's the reality sellers are facing right now. And for buyers, it's created a real opportunity. I'm gonna tell you about a deal we closed this past week, not because I wanna talk about myself, but because it's the clearest picture I can give you what's actually available and happening in this market for a patient buyer with the right person in their corner. If you're a buyer watching this next part is for you, because the conditions right now are some of the most favorable we've seen in years. Negotiating power is real right now, and I don't say that lightly. Just this past week, we closed a deal where we got a property for about $30,000 to $40,000 below what I honestly thought the seller would accept, and the seller took it. Why did they take it? Because that home had been sitting. That's the kind of outcome that simply didn't exist in 2021 or 22, but it's available right now. And offer conditions are back too. Home inspections, financing clauses, subject to sale situations, all those things disappeared during the frenzy because buyers weren't in a position to ask for them. Now you can do your due diligence before committing to one of the largest purchases of your life. Prices have genuinely come down. Surrey and Langley detached homes are running noticeably lower than last year. Townhomes and condos are also down year over year. On a home in the mid $1 million range, that is real money. That being said, and this is important, you never know when the bottom arrives until it's already behind you. The data always shows up late. By the time the headlines confirm the market has turned, you probably already missed the best window. As I always say, no one rings a bell when it's at the bottom. Right now, you've got lower prices and lower rates all at the same time. So if you've been sitting on the fence, it's time for a real conversation with someone who can walk you through your specific situation. We've gotten some great deals for buyers recently, and there's more out there if you know how to find them. Okay, so the opportunities are real. The deals are happening, but where this market goes from here and which parts of it are already moving differently is what I want to get into now, because the answer is more nuanced than you might expect. Is this a buyer's market? The data says yes. But depending on which type of property you're looking at, which neighborhood you're in, which price range you're dealing with, the answer you get on the ground might be completely different. And that gap is exactly what makes this moment so unusual. The part people aren't fully getting yet is also the most counterintuitive thing about this market. The Fraser Valley isn't one market right now, but several markets happening all at the same time. And your outcome depends entirely on which one you're in. For the first time in close to a year, we saw prices tick slightly higher month over month in March. March sales were also noticeably higher than in February. Some buyers who'd been sitting on the sidelines are starting to jump in. But, and this is a real but, the overall market ratio is still firmly in a buyer's market territory. But, there's another but. There are pockets where certain property types in certain neighborhoods are actually behaving like a seller's market. And right next to them, you'll find listings that have been sitting for months without a serious look. That's what I call the market splitting in two. On one side, you've got well-priced, well-presented homes in the right pockets, and they're moving in a reasonable time frame. On the other side, you've got overpriced or poorly positioned listings that just accumulate days on the market while a seller slowly comes around to where they need to be. And the gap between those two outcomes has never been bigger. So when people ask me, what happens next, my honest answer is, talk to me next month. Spring is the ultimate moment of truth. If buyers come out in April and May like they usually do, we could see a meaningful shift towards a more balanced market, and in some areas, maybe even a bit of a seller's market. Your unique situation depends on where you fall in that split, and you need someone who can see both sides of it in real time. Whether you're buying or selling, the strategy that works right now isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. It's built around exactly where you stand, and that's exactly what I want to walk through with you next. Every conversation I'm having this spring boils down to the same question. With everything happening, what's the actual right move? So let me be direct. If you're a buyer right now, the opportunity is real, but it requires action, not endless waiting. The mental shift I give people when they're hesitant is this: if prices drop another 5%, but rates go up, you might end up in the same monthly payment spot you're in today. Right now, you've got lower prices, lower rates, and real negotiating power all at the same time. That combination is very rare. Inventory is at the highest it's been in over 40 years. And if you've got the right person negotiating for you, you might be surprised at what you can actually get. Don't just anchor on the list price. In this market, that's a starting point, not a destination. Surrey's long-term fundamentals haven't changed either. The SkyTrain extension is under active construction along Fraser Highway, on track for opening before 2030. A new hospital and BC Cancer Centre are being built in Cloverdale, already well into structural development. And this city is on track to surpass Vancouver as BC's largest city in the coming decades. This is not a city in decline, but a city in a cyclical reset. Rest assured, if you choose to work with us, you'll be in very good hands navigating this one. If you're a seller right now, I want to be straight with you. You deserve honest advice more than just like a polished pitch, okay? The conversation I'm having with sellers is a tough one. We sit down, we look at what your home is worth today, not 2 years ago, but today. And that number is usually less than what you're hoping to hear. But here's the flip side of that, and it's something I actually love walking our sellers through. If you're looking to move up, like buying something more expensive than what you're selling, the math of this market actually works in your favor. If prices across the board have pulled back from the peak, the bigger discount is always on the more expensive home you're buying. So in that move up scenario, you're effectively coming out ahead just by making that trade before prices recover. That advantage disappears the moment the market turns. And for sellers who aren't moving up, the message is simpler but just as important. Pricing is king right now. An overpriced listing attracts no showings at all. This is also the market where experience matters. During the pandemic, anyone could sell a house. It wasn't hard. But right now, you actually need someone who has live intelligence across the market, who knows what's moving, what's sitting on the back end, not just what the online estimates say. I said this before and I'm saying it again. You need someone who can look at your property and say, hey, I've got other listings at this price point. Here's what I'm seeing in terms of real buyer activity. And look, whatever's going on in the world, life still moves forward. But here in our country, we're in a great place. The opportunities in this market are real. The fundamentals, prices, rates, inventory, negotiating power, they're all lining up in a way that make this a genuinely interesting time to act if you've got the right person in your corner. The Surrey Langley market right now rewards those who understand exactly which side of the split they're on and move accordingly. Whether that window stays open another month or another year, nobody can say for sure, but the data is pointing to right now. If you're trying to figure out where you stand, whether to buy, sell, or hold, reach out, info@moteam.ca. I'll give you a straight answer based on what I'm seeing across my own listings in real time. I've also linked a video here that gives you unfiltered truth about actually living in Surrey, including what it's like to raise a family here as the city grows. I've been here over 20 years and I'm not holding anything back. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you again in the next one.